Entitled Dad tried to take my drone and fly it, so I troll him. I have a drone. The model's a Parrot Bebop 2. I'm not a drone expert, but I'm not a pro photographer, so I'm cool with it. It's pretty nice. So I drove to a local field when I'm allowed to fly my drone. Parked, got set up and everything. Entitled Dad and Entitled Kid show up. I'm flying around, filming some stuff, toying around. Entitled Kid runs up to me and asks if he can try it. I'm no expert with drones, but I don't want a 6-year-old, or that's what he looked like, flying my thing and ruining it. So of course I refuse, in a polite manner. Entitled Dad is not too happy with my answer and starts demanding it. Here's some context. I'm a 16-year-old, almost 17. Entitled Dad is pretty big, middle-aged man, and now I'm worried as frick. I do mixed martial arts, just as a hobby, and go around sparring with people. But this would have been my first fight, and martial arts don't always go into the street fights well. So I'm kinda intimidated, but not so much that I go chovering to his knees. And here's what happened next. Me. My answer is firm. Sorry sir, but I'm just not comfortable with it.
Don't make there be more trouble than there needs to be.
I don't want there to be any trouble, but you are the one causing it. Can you leave me alone?
Let me just use drone. I want to fly it with my son.
No.
You want tissues?
No, I don't. But I'm not letting you use my stuff. That's fine. And you squaring up isn't gonna change my mind.
Fine, we're leaving.
So they walk away, I go back to my car, because I brought lunch. And I was busy downloading the drone videos onto my phone gallery from the app. Here's something to know. For the drone I have, I could use an app. There's a little stand-on controller. And once you record or take photos or whatever, there's a button that asks you if you want to transfer from the app to your phone gallery. I do that every time. My position during the time was in driver's seat, but the door was open and I was sitting with my legs out, always facing the left side. So, while I was sitting, my drone was on the floor in front of me, and I was using the phone which was active instead of my controller. But Entitled Kid and Entitled Dad don't know that, so they run up while I'm eating my lunch, snag the drone and controller and start running. I start to chase them, but remember that my phone is active for controlling the drone, not a physical controller. So I got this awesome plan and waited for them to attempt to lift my drone up. But I was connected, so when they started pressing all the buttons on the controller, I tapped lift off on my phone and the drone lifted up. Then I had circled around them with the drone for a few seconds, and they are confused. And then I fly it back to me, land it, and smile at Entitled Kid and Entitled Dad. So they start running towards me, because when they took the drone, they ran like 60-ish yards away. That's around 54 meters. I see them put the drone and my phone in my car, lock the car and wait for them, because they still have my controller. When they got to me, they were pretty pissed. Not gonna lie, it was kinda funny.
What happened? Why did the drone go back to you?
I am Gandalf, Lord of Drones.
Don't give me that crap. What the hell happened?
Well, the drone was connected to my phone, not that controller. You guys were never the ones flying it, I was.
Fine. Take back your stupid controller. Give us the drone and your phone.
This guy's so stupid. No, what the heck? I'll take the controller back though. Snatch his controller.
Flippin' fight me for the drone, you won't.
You're right, I won't, because I'm more sensible and won't find someone over something that I own and is currently in my possession. Bye bye. And then I got into my car and left. But not without Entitled Dad running after me and chucking stones at my car, and Entitled Kid wailing. I finished my lunch later. End of story. I signed a 1-year lease and just found out I live across from an entitled mother. There's two things I'd like to state for proper context before getting into this. I moved into a better apartment at the start of the month and finally have access to a nice porch I can enjoy. I work overnights and have been on for the last 6 nights. So I got home this morning around 7:30 and I decide I want to enjoy some porch time before it gets too hot out. I put some ice, vodka and seltzer water in my little cooler to bring out to the front porch. I set up my laptop, mix a drink, and plug in my headphones to relax after work. I'm having a drink, smoking a cheap cigar, and playing Fallout 76 on the front porch, just trying to enjoy my day off. A little after 8, a mom and her kids across the street came out to their front yard. The kids are playing and mom is watching them for her own porch. I gave the mom a polite neighborly nod and she shoots me a dirty look. I brush it off since I'm used to such things from work and go about my relaxing morning. That's when it seems I really flipped up. I finished my second drink and mixed a third right at the porch table. It was at that moment I seemingly enraged the mom across the street. She marched right over and began yelling at me.
What are you, some kind of alcoholic? It's bad enough you're smoking in front of my kids, but this is absolutely disgusting. My kids don't need to see you getting drunk in front of them. This is a good neighborhood with good hard-working people living in it. We don't need alcoholic trash like you living here.
So I put my best customer service smile and try to explain myself. I tell her I work nights so the morning is my evening. I tell her I don't plan on getting drunk, I'm just relaxing after work. I tell her I'm on my own porch and I'm not bothering anyone. I tell her I'm sorry, but the kids aren't my responsibility. I promise her I won't be getting loud or rowdy and plan on going in bed in a couple hours. None of that matters and she launches into a rerun of her earlier diatribe, just longer with more insults. Meanwhile, her kids have stopped playing to stare at mommy losing her crap. I try to placate her again and now she gets louder. At this point I'm just done. Between working the last 6 nights and feeling really tired I let loose. So I repeat my earlier points peppered with several swear words finishing off with "flip off and get off my porch" because I'm just so burned out at this point. She seems to realize I won't kowtow to her crap and goes back across the street to her own porch while the kids go back to playing. She continues throwing me dirty looks and typing away at her phone. I'm sure that I'll be subject of all her mom's group rants today and I'm just fine with that. This is the second part. Update. Entitled mom called the cops on me. I finished my 5th drink almost an hour ago and was chilling out when the cops showed up. A police cruiser rolled up and parked a couple parking spots from me. The officer got out and looked around the neighborhood. The cop calls into his radio before approaching my porch. The officer talked to me, asked me what was going on and I explained. I gave him all my important info, showed him documents proving I lived there and generally stayed polite. After an explanation, the officer was ready to let it go when Entitled Mom came out of her house and approached the cop. Entitled Mom starts talking to the cop and then starts yelling. The cop, to his credit, held it together far more than I ever could. After lots of almost yelling, he came back over to me. "Do you want to file harassment charges?" I told him I didn't because I don't have time for all that crap, and he laughed. The cop went back over to Entitled Mom and told her that there was nothing he could do. Entitled Mom continued to freak out as the cruiser drove off. I smiled smugly and inhaled from my cigar as Entitled Mom got pissy and went home. Nice. Entitled Mother lets her kids destroy my school project. This happened a few years back. My school was having an educational fair, basically a science fair with more than science. And I did a project on Nintendo's history. I worked for about 2 weeks on it and then brought it into school for the event. And here comes the entitled parent. So on this night my grandma took me to the event and my project was already at the school where the event was. We went over to my project, Untouched, where I did a presentation on my project for about an hour. I took a break to see some of my friends that were there. I return half an hour later and see a horrible sight. I see Entitled Mom with her 3 toddlers, letting them destroy everything and leave a mess. I have brought my project with controllers, plushes, and a glass cup. I used it to hold up a few things. They were playing with controllers, leaving them on the ground, throwing my plushes on Mario and Luigi across the hall, and knocking down my main project. My heart dropped, especially since a lot of this stuff I really valued. My grandma was watching and she told me to stay calm. I went over to Entitled Mom and our brief interaction went like this. "Ma'am, please have your kids stop and go away from my project." Entitled Mom gives me a death stare and I get mad, hiding my anger. I walked over to my grandma sobbing, not saying anything. One of the kids had almost broke one of my controllers, damaging the joystick on it. I watched this horrific sight for 2 more minutes, until the glass holding up a few things fell on the ground and broke. I was shocked to see this, but even more shocked to see that she acted like nothing happened. I walked up to her, angry as ever, and have her leave. Me. "Please leave, now," Entitled Mom, sarcastically.
Okay, sorry.
She got the memo, from the dead serious in my voice, that I wasn't asking. Entitled Mom's husband walks up to us when she left, and helps me clean everything up. He apologized for what has just happened, he was very nice, but I still think to this day about how polar opposite they were. The next thing I see almost makes me laugh out loud. Entitled Mom is near the entrance, heading into another direction, but a part of staff seeing what just happened and tells them to leave, and they do so. I read these posts a lot, so I was honestly surprised when Entitled Mom didn't argue with the staff. I don't understand how people can keep their cool with these crotch goblins. I'ma be honest, someone's neck would be snapped if I encountered Entitled Parent. The video on screen tells the story.
Police! Arrest him for speaking Chinese! He is impersonating Chinese people! That's identity theft!
I will never break the silence. When I look inside, I don't have to hide if you're looking.